Hey everyone, you're watching QDCrafts. Today I'll be showing you 5 different Perler Bead emoji DIYs that I think are really great summer projects. Some of you have requested emoji projects for the longest time, so I thought I would make a 5-in-1 video once again. Now with that said, let's get started with the easiest DIY, which is emoji photo holders. To make a picture holder, I created this outline of an emoji using cheddar colored beads, and you can just pause the video at any time to copy the templates down. I chose to make this into a sunglasses wearing emoji since it's finally summer, and then I filled the rest of it up using some yellow beads. And now to fuse the beads together, I placed a piece of parchment paper on top, and with my iron preheated at number 3, which is the polyester setting, I ironed both sides. I recommend keeping a heavy object on top of your Perler Bead Sprite until it cools down so that this way it keeps it flat, and once that is done you can just peel it off and this is what it looks like. I made a second one that's exactly the same as the first, and to connect them to the picture holder, which is just a clothespin, I used my good old hot glue gun to help me out. I tried my best to place the clothespin right in the middle of the face and also attach the other piece so that they're all aligned together. Once the glue sets, it can now stand up on its own, and when you press down on the clothespin, it opens up for you to put in a photo or notes. You can choose whatever expression you'd like. I made a second one with heart eyes because it'll be used for my beloved photo cards, and that is how you make the first DIY. The next DIY is an emoji container that you can use to store some small items such as pins, charms, money, whatever fits. For this project, you'll need a circular pegboard, and I just filled up the whole thing using yellow beads to make the cover and the bottom of the container. So I made 2 of these pieces. The next piece is just the outline of the pegboard, and I made this 7 times to create the container body. With all the pieces ironed, I have a cover that I will add a face to later on, and the bottom of the container. All these rings are supposed to be glued together so that it forms a chamber for you to put stuff in, so that means I'll have to bring out my glue gun again and just glue all these pieces on top of each other. With the container done, now it's time to decorate the cover. I first got 4 individual beads and glued these near the edge of the cover so that these act as little pegs that prevent the cover from sliding off. Make sure that all the pegs fit into the container, and finally I can decorate the cover with mini beads to create a face. I made 2 eyes and an open mouth to make the surprised or wow emoji, and to iron I set it at 1 since mini beads melt a lot faster. Lastly, I placed the eyes and mouth into position on the cover and glued all the mini bead pieces on. Second DIY is now finished. That's how you make a little emoji container that can hold some of your tiny belongings. The third DIY is a fire emoji phone holder. Yeah, I'm not sure how or why I came up with this. But anyway, by now you should know how the perler beading process works. Just copy the pattern onto your pegboard and iron the beads. These are all the pieces that I made. The main fire emoji piece can fit on 1 pegboard, and here's a close-up of my original design. The colors used are red, orange, butterscotch, yellow, pastel yellow, and creme. This is the second largest piece, and I made it so that it kind of blends in with the main piece when you look directly at it from the back. This is the bottom piece, and these are the 2 side pieces. When you have all these pieces, it's time to click them all together like you're assembling a 3D puzzle. Now DIY number 3 is finished. You see, it's not that hard to assemble, but it just takes a lot of time to make all those pieces. Oh, and keep in mind, I designed this to fit my Samsung S5 Neo, so I'm not sure if your phone will fit if it's different. Other than that, now I can keep my phone standing up to watch videos or listen to some music. Next up for DIY number 4, I'll be showing you how to make this emoji coin bank. To start off, this is the outline of the emoji made out of butterscotch beads, and it's up to you to choose which face you'd like to design. I decided to make the awkward smile or super smiley emoji and filled the entire thing with cheddar beads. Take note that there are 2 spaces left near the bottom of the face because that's where the cap will be going. For the middle pieces, I made 3 of this piece and then these 2 pieces here that will leave an opening for the money to go in. When you iron these big flimsy pieces, you should use the masking tape method, otherwise you can easily mess it up and the pieces can break. And now it's time to glue all of the pieces together. I'm using this Gorilla Super Glue since it sets a lot slower than hot glue and I can have some time to adjust the pieces to the correct position before it dries. I also used some pins to help me keep the pieces pressed together tightly. This part is pretty straightforward, so I'll let you guys enjoy some music while you watch me glue these pieces. You can leave a heavy book on top as it dries, and here is the design for the cap. The width of this piece may be different depending on how much you iron the middle pieces of the emoji. I have 4 layers in between the 2 face pieces, but there are only 3 beads for the width of the cap, and that happens to make it fit perfectly into the leftover space. Yay! Now I can use this emoji bank to hold my loonies and toonies. If you didn't know, those are Canadian coins. Shout out to my fellow Canadians. Happy Canada Day 150. Last but not least, DIY number 5 is an Emoji Tissue Box holder. This is the outline of the first piece, and all the pieces will take up almost the entire pegboard, so prepare to use a lot of beads. I used butterscotch beads for the outline of the emoji, and I designed this sweating face by trying to replicate this image. Of course, make sure you don't fill up the mouth because that's where the tissues will come out of, and now you can just fill up the background with whatever pattern you like. Because these pieces are so big, you'll need to use masking tape to take all the beads off the board and then readjust some of the side beads to make sure they'll fuse properly with the rest of them. To iron huge pieces, I usually set my iron a bit higher at around number 4, which is the cotton setting, and as usual, I am ironing both sides of the beads and placing something heavy on top of it before I peel off the ironing paper. As you can see, I made 2 pieces with the same general shape, it's just that the patterns for the emojis and the background are different. This is the second shape, and I'm doing the exact same thing as I did for the first one. I tried mixing in some artkal beads with this one to see if they work with Perler beads, and I attempted to make a marble-like background. I'd say that you can't really tell the difference between Perler and artkal beads, so you can try using those 2 in your designs. Here is the last template to follow, and I used a laughing emoji with a rainbow background. You should have 6 pieces in total with 3 unique shapes, and finally, it's the best part now, it's time to assemble these pieces together. The tissue box I'm using has the dimensions 13 by 11 by 10.5 centimeters, so hopefully you can find one that will fit inside. And lastly, put the tissue through the mouth and you are done. You can switch up the pieces so that the tissues go through a different emoji. And now when you're ugly crying from that K-drama or when you fangirl too hard, at least you have a nice tissue box. So those are all the DIYs I have for you today. I hope you liked at least one of them. If you do, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time with another cutie craft. Goodbye.